Hey guys, welcome back. So we're talking about characteristics of functions and graphs. And if you're following along in your textbook resources, like I encourage you to do so, we are in sections 1.2 or lesson 1.2. All right, so we're going to sketch a function graph from a verbal description. So let's see what we have. It says you can sketch a graph. You can sketch a graph of a function from a description of its key features. Consider this situation. A dam controls a reservoir's water level. The level is currently steady and above normal. To prepare for coming rain, engineers will lower the water level at a constant rate until it is below normal. The water level is then expected to rise rapidly with the rains and gradually level off well above the current level. You can sketch a graph of the reservoir's water level as a function of time, where the normal water level of the reservoir is represented by the horizontal axis. All right, so this is kind of an example of how they've sketched the graph. So they started out, it has above normal, so this is the positive water level. And then when they decreased it or they let the water out, then this is going down, so it's decreasing the water level. When it gets below zero or below ground level, then that's below normal. That's below the normal level for water, but it's also, in this case, it's going to be below the x-axis. All right, and then we have a minimum level. The lowest point here would be the minimum level, and that's the turning point. And then from here it goes up, so all the way both of these sections will be increasing. And then you can see this is the highest point of the graph, so that is considered your maximum. All right, it says refer to the sketch provided. A function f of x. All right, it goes through a couple definitions here. Make sure you know these definitions: increasing, decreasing, turning point, maximum, and minimum are all very important things that you need to know. All right, sketch a graph for the following situation. All right, so you've seen the graph they sketched before. Now it's our turn to sketch the graph. I want you to pause the video, sketch your graph, and then see if it looks like the one I sketched. When you're ready, just resume the video. All right, so this says the sun rises at 6 a.m. It reaches its highest point above the horizon at 12 p.m. and it sets at 6 p.m. It reaches its lowest point below the horizon at 12 a.m. So you can see they've already got this labeled on here. This is time in hours. So we can start, you can start at 0 if you want. We can start at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter, but we're going to sketch what this represents. So if it's going to rise at 6 a.m., that means it's coming up above ground, and it's going to reach its highest point at 12. So we're going to have a graph, and it's going to reach its highest point at noon, and then it's going to set at 6. Well, 6 after 12 hours is at the 18, so it's going to be right around sunset at 18, and then another 6 hours is going to be at its lowest point, which is 12 a.m. or midnight. So it's going to continue past here to its lowest point, and then it's probably going to repeat. All right, so you can continue this on if you wanted. This is going to drop below because this is before sunrise. So it's kind of like that same kind of thing. All right, so this is going to continue because you know every day the sun comes up, meets its highest point, goes down, sets. This is say after dark, whatever you want to call it. So there is my poorly sketched graph. Hopefully yours is somewhat similar. All right, if you click save, then I can see the graph that you sketched. All right, it says select the arrows to show a sample of the graph. All right, so this is going to show you a sample of their graph. They went on to 30 hours, so they're all the way to the point where the sun's going to come up again. But you can see they also added the arrows, which means it's continuous. So every day the sun comes up and goes back down. All right, it says compare and contrast your graph with the sample graph. How are the graphs the same and how are they different? So please pause the video and on your end, you can start typing. All right, once you've finished, just resume the video. All right, the next question says, analyze the sample graph. Use the term positive, negative, increasing, and decreasing to describe the graph for the interval of time. All right, it says from 6 a.m. to noon and from midnight to 6 a.m. So let's see we can increase, negative, positive, and decrease. So from 6 to noon, it's going up, but then it starts going back down. From 6 a.m. to noon and from midnight to 6 a.m. So those are both increasing. Those are going up. And from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., those are positive because those are all above your zero. From noon to midnight. From noon to midnight is continuing to go down, so that would be decreasing. And then from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's all when the sun is set. So those are all negative values. And then you can hit check. Hopefully you got the same answers that I did. All right, last one. Now use the terms zero, maximum, and minimum to identify the values where these occur on the sample graph. All right, at 6 a.m., it's coming up. The sun is coming up. If you look back up here, you can see my graph and the one that is given here. At 6 a.m., they are right about 0. So you're going to put 0 in the first one. At noon, you know that's well above 0. That would be the maximum. That's the highest point of the day. At 6 p.m., you come back down and hit 0 because that's where the sun sets at the x-axis. And at midnight, that's going to be your minimum value. So hopefully you took a little bit of time to do those. I went through that a little bit quickly, but definitions, again, very important. Make sure you understand how to sketch the graph and also what all the terms on the graph mean. If you have any questions, please let me know.